So the question that I was assigned and given is why are Asians so much smarter than we are? When I was first given this question, I was actually a little bit confused, thinking it was kind of just more of a stereotype. But it turns out there's actually some truth behind that. So sadly, but true, there is a discrepancy between Asian and American students and the achievement gap that exists between those two. In the USA Today article, Asian students are described as committed, dedicated, competitive, and focused. So in a New York Times article that I read, it actually said that a Asian person with a lower IQ than a American is actually more likely to succeed at a managerial position in a job, which is actually was a very interesting statistic. So here are some reasons that we see this gap in between the knowledge of Asians and Americans. First and foremost, American teachers and parents are definitely have much lower standards in terms of testing and education, and for academic achievement in general. Asian parents are much more rigid and structured with that kind of stuff. So some reasons why Americans lack guidelines and norms to have govern academic achievement. Standardized tests are frequently used as a guideline and to see how smart a student is in the United States or to judge how they may do in the future. And the clout behind that, the scores of the standardized testing is huge, especially when going into college or pursuing a future. These scores are held to a high standard. Universities in the past have used ACT, SAT scores as an indicator if a student is college ready or ready to take the next step in America, especially with admission acceptance too. That has a big high standard along with GPA, but the ACT scores definitely get you a long way in terms of where you go to school. So the American grading system is also very vague and unclear. It can be confusing at sometimes. Some examples of this are when we were younger in kindergarten and preschool, if we did well on a test or we got a smiley face or a star. Even sometimes grades like S or S plus, meaning kind of satisfactory. The U.S. does not really have a clear national curriculum. So in the United States, districts or even individuals, schools establish their own curriculum, which leads to a lot of confusion and fault. In contrast, Asian education systems have a very high consistent national curriculum, and their scoring systems are very clear cut and concise. In addition, the government in Asia holds education to a very high importance, making college education affordable, unlike the United States. I know a lot of schools are very unobtainable for the average, normal, everyday family because the prices are actually just way too high, and students will have to take out student loans and actually be in debt after they graduate. Lastly, family culture plays a huge role into this. Upon research, the Chinese have a tradition. This goes beyond just Chinese. Asian families have a tradition where, if you have success in something, it's not just your own to hold. It's not just your victory; it's actually the family's victory, which kind of shows a bit of loyalty and obligation to the family and the culture.